For this assignment, we are going to make a table and put a texture on it that looks like wood. So we're going to make a little wood table for our kitchen scene. So the first thing we need to do is, with our box, we need to make it the size of a table or shape it like the top of a table, and then we'll make the legs. So we need to scale it down to the thickness of just a small kitchen table. We'll come out and out this way. It's always good to rotate it around so we can see the view. Now if we want it perfectly square, we can bring up the menu by clicking N on the keyboard, and it shows us our size here. Dimensions, let's see. So we can try and get it to the same here, X and Y, the dimensions. And by clicking on it, we can get it exactly the same. 4.168. Okay, and then we've got a perfect square. Or if you don't want it a square, that's fine. You can make it a rectangle. I'll bring it down just a little bit, the thickness. Okay, so there's the top of the table. I like to bring it up above the grid after we have the legs in so that nothing's below the grid. So I'll bring it up a little bit. Now we've got the top of the table. We need to make some legs. So let's start with one leg and then we'll duplicate it to make all four. So I will add, bring in, stick my target right there, bring in another mesh. I want to bring in another cube, and I will shape this like a leg, and so I'll get my scale tool and bring it in to a square. And if I wanted a perfect square, again, I can come up here and just type in X and Y values the same. Whoops, down here on dimensions, rather. Oh, let's see. Okay, so then I've got a perfect square, and that's good. Now, if I go to wireframe view by hitting Z, I can see through the table, and I can get that leg in the right spot. If I click 7 on the number keypad over on the right side, not on the top of the keyboard, but on the right side of the keyboard, hit number 7, it will take me to the top view, the top of the table, and that way I can get this leg over here in the corner where I want it. If I go to translate, I can move it to the corner. Now it doesn't have to be exactly in the corner. It can be in just a little bit from the corner. But if you go back to your side view, number 1, or just drag around, I need to drag this up toward the table. So there it is. Then I go back to my top view, and I can put it where I want it, just in from the edges of the table. Okay, so now it's up in the table, and we can go up in a ways. It's about halfway up. Let's go a little bit more, so that's up into the table. Now if I change back out of wireframe view, I can see that it's inside the table. Okay, and it's close to the edge, but not quite on the edge. Now that looks kind of thick still. Let me scale that down a little bit more. Go to wireframe view, then I can see the top of it. Click 7. And I can make it an exact square, 0.378. Okay, that looks a little better. So now I've got that leg. I need to make it longer, obviously. So I need to go back to edit mode. By hitting tab on your keyboard, that switches between edit mode and object mode. So I can go to edit mode by hitting tab. Now I want to select the bottom, so I'll get my face select, right click on the bottom, translate tool, and I'll drag that down a little ways toward my grid. That's pretty good. Okay, I've got one leg. Now I want to make that leg a little bit more fancy than just a square block, so let's do a couple loop, cut, and slide. Let's drag it up here toward the top. Let's do one more loop, cut, and slide. I'll stick it right below there. Now on the second one, I am going to get the scale tool, click on the white circle to scale the whole thing at the same time, and I'll just drag that in a little bit to give it a little bit of a bevel. And on the bottom, if I get my face select, I'll select that face and drag it in a little bit, and I can go a little bit further. Okay, and that's a nice simple leg, but it looks a lot better than just the square. Okay, now that we've got one leg, we want to duplicate it, and so I'm going to go to wireframe mode, hit Z on your keyboard, and I'm going to select all, and it only selects that, so I've got two objects here. If I go into object mode, to switch between the objects, I need to go to object mode by hitting tab, and then I could select either this object, the top of my table, or the leg. Okay, and then go back to edit mode, select all, and to duplicate I'm going to do a Shift D, hold down Shift and hit D, and then it duplicates it. Now if I hold down my scroll wheel, it keeps it to the same length or the same position on the graph, and I can drag it over to this other side of the table. Oh, then I need to click to apply it. Okay, so now it's right in line with that one because I held down my middle mouse scroll wheel. I'm going to do it again, Shift D to duplicate, and if I hold down my middle mouse wheel again, I'll come out here, click to apply it, and do it one more time, Shift D, hold down middle mouse wheel, come out here, click to apply it, and then I've got my four legs just like that. So I will click Z to come out of wireframe mode, and there's my simple table. It's just that easy for a real simple one. Now I want to put a texture on this of a wood table to make it look like a wood table. So I will go hit tab to go into object mode. I want to click the top of my table, and then tab to go back into edit mode. Now what we need to do is unwrap our table object so that we can put a texture on it, and we've done this before, so let's mark the seams. First of all, get our edge select tool, and we'll select the edges. Let's do on one side, let's do 3 edges just like we would on the top of the box, and then we'll mark one edge for this, and when we unwrap it, it will unwrap all of that together. Actually, you know what? It's table, it's wood, so let's do the 2 edges on this side, and then on the other side, or on the top, 2 edges on the top, and then on this last side, let's do 3 again. Okay, and well, that will just do the top, won't it? Let's undo one of these edges on the top. So we've got, on one side, we've got 3 edges marked. On the top we've got this 1, and on the other side we've got 3. Let's do that. Now when we unwrap that, let's select, oops, I just deselected it. Okay, Control Z. Okay, I've got those selected. Now if I go to mark seam over here, I can mark that and then select all by hitting A twice, and it selects that whole thing. So now that I've marked the seams, I need to open up this menu here. I've got lots of menus here, so I'll hit N to get rid of this one, and over here T to get rid of that one, and N to get rid of that one over here. Okay, now I'll change this view from 3D view to UV image editor. Mine's already been done, so I will start over. Okay, now that I've unwrapped it, it's here, all my sides, the tops of the tables and the sides, they are there. Now what we need to do is go to the materials, the texture tab, and get a new texture. We're going to change it from clouds to image or movie, and we need to open one, but first we need to find one. So if you open up your browser and just do a Google search for seamless, Google wants me to play, so it'll play some music here. Seamless wood texture, and you can just do an image search even, or there's websites that have textures that we can use, we can borrow for this educational assignment. So there's lots of wood textures. If you get find a good one that looks like a table, the top of a table, kind of like this. Click on it to make it bigger. Right click on it to save image as, and then it will save to your files. Okay, and I've already done this. So then when you go back to Blender, you will open and you will go to your files and find that picture. Okay, now if you come down here and click this button right there, we can change it, apply that image. Okay, and there it is. Now on our table we can adjust these, and we can even come back here and just select certain sides. If I do my face select, I'll just select that face, and there's that face right there on there, and we can make it bigger. We can rotate it if we want to put the wood this way. Let me do a 90. Okay, G to move it around, and then scale it. Move it. Scale was with S. Moving it is G. So scale S. Now, whatever direction I have it in, that's the direction that the wood will go. If I render it here by hitting F12, okay, the wood is the right direction on top. Now on the side, it's not the right direction. So I would need to change that. Hit escape. So if I click on this side, see, now it's this direction. I want it to go this direction, at least this side. This side should be that direction, so that's correct, because the wood is coming this way and then it will come down off the side. But on this side it's going this way, and so this side needs to go that direction also. So I will rotate that, hit 90, and I can scale it if I want to. Let's just keep it that size for now. So if I hit, now come back over here, type N on the keyboard, and we will go to display, and we'll get our GLSL and textured solid, and it will just put the texture right on there. Okay, it's got the right directions on that table. Looks nice. Oop, that one's not correct either. So let's change the direction on that one. Rotate 90, move it with G, and there we go. So there is our table with a texture. We could even unwrap the legs and put a texture on those. So I will let you do that and play around with it. But there is our table with a nice wood texture. If you get rid of that menu, you can see it a lot better. That looks nice. So try putting a texture on the legs by unwrapping those and putting that same texture on there, and then take a screenshot of it.